What if I told you there was a mass grave of American soldiers that many people knew about, and yet no effort was made to give them a proper burial? That is exactly what has happened to the Union soldiers from the Battle of Olustee. On February 20th, 1864, the Battle of Olustee resulted in 1,861 Union casualties and 946 Confederate casualties. While the Confederate soldiers were given proper burials, the Union soldiers were hastily buried in shallow graves. In 1866, the U.S. Army dispatched Lieutenant Frederick Grossman to determine the condition and whereabouts of the Union graves. He reported the following.
The bodies of the Union soldiers killed in the Battle of Olustee were buried by the Confederates in such a careless manner that the remains were disinterred by the hogs within a few weeks after the battle, in consequence of which the bones and skulls were scattered broadcast over the field.
Under the instruction of Colonel J.T. Sprague, Grossman and men from the 7th Infantry collected 2.5 wagon loads of bones and buried them in a mass grave marked by a wooden cross. It had the following inscription: South Side.
To the memory of the officers and soldiers of the United States Army who fell in the Battle of Olustee, February 20th, 1864.
West Side.
Our country.
North Side.
May the living profit by the example of the dead.
And East Side.
Unity and peace.
In 1866, the system of national cemeteries was established in order to ensure proper burials for all service members. Although there were many unidentified remains following the Civil War, many of them were still given a proper burial. However, the mass grave at Olustee was not touched. In 1873, a Union veteran noticed that the cross atop the burial was missing and contacted the War Department about retrieving the bodies of the Union soldiers, but nothing was done. The Union grave was neglected, and over time, the exact location was lost. In 1991, reenactors dedicated a granite replica of the cross in an active African American cemetery because it is where they believe the location of the mass grave is. In 1994, ground-penetrating radar was used to try and find the exact location of these lost Union soldiers. A positive reading was recorded in the empty space behind the 1991 monument. However, further exploration of the grave has not been done to confirm if the Union soldiers are buried there. Reburying unknown Civil War remains is not a new issue. In 1994, human remains were found just outside of Gettysburg. They were examined by the Smithsonian and then given a military burial in Gettysburg National Military Park Cemetery in 1997. Although the cemetery that the mass grave is most likely located in is located within the Osceola National Forest, it is not part of the park. Control over the cemetery is uncertain, which means the fate of the mass grave is uncertain. However, with enough support, it is still possible to give these American soldiers the proper burials they deserve.